Welcome back to another episode of Press Play, Media Strategies from Scott Media Tulsa, the podcast where we talk about impactful media, PR, and marketing strategies to help you elevate your message. I'm your host, Jeremy Scott, and today we're going to be talking about helping nonprofits leverage some creative strategies to promote their mission and events. So if you're looking to amplify your nonprofit's message and kind of create some buzz around your events, stick around. This episode has a lot of insights. We'll be talking about that and much more in this episode of Press Play. If you work in nonprofit like I have done over the years, you know that you have a mission that you feel like deserves to be seen and supported, but sometimes getting the word out can be a challenge. How do you make sure that your clients are educated on the programs and the services that you offer? More importantly, how can you educate the public to make sure that they know what you're working on and that you truly are trying to make a difference? Social media and newsletters are certainly powerful tools for spreading awareness, but there are some other ways. You also need to know how to use those resources. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in this episode. So let's first start by talking about the most powerful tool that all nonprofit agencies have, and that's social media. Social media is such a great tool because it's already guaranteed supporters who already like your page, they follow what you're doing, and they want to learn more about your mission and what you are trying to accomplish in your community. There are some easy creative ways that you can help get your posts to stand out and hopefully drive some engagement. The first thing, showcase the impact you're making with some mini stories. So really kind of put your journalist hat on, your storyteller hat on. Instead of very broad statements, you can share mini stories about individuals or communities that are impacted by your organization. You could even do kind of a story of the week where you highlight a specific person or a group or an aspect of your program. I've done this a lot in my work with nonprofit agencies. The clients you serve love sharing the story about how your organization helped them. Your clients feel appreciated and feel like you have helped them really share the impact that they've experienced with your organization. And it kind of serves as a personal endorsement when you have someone that you are interviewing for your social media page or for your blog that you post on social media, or even for some social media videos. If you can get someone to talk about the impact that your organization made on them, it really provides a personal touch. It humanizes the work that you do, and that's such an easy way to showcase what you all are doing. And the best way really to do that, use photos, use brief videos. You can create some testimonials with graphic design, or even as simple as using Canva to create a quote. It keeps the content fresh and visual. I've always encouraged people to use their cell phones to shoot video conversations that you're having with someone. Go out into the community when you have a program that's going on and get someone to talk to you on camera about how your organization is making a difference. Those little testimonials and those mini stories can have such a big impact. It's such an easy project to take on. All of us know how to shoot with our phones. You can use any number of editing programs to chop it up into little snippets that you can post on social media. Those get a ton of engagement, a ton of shares, and it'll really help get the message out about your organization. The second way to help get your story out there is using your own newsletters. More than likely, you have a strong, full database of people who have supported you over the years. You have email addresses, sometimes addresses, certainly maybe phone numbers, some social media. There are so many people who have signed up to receive information from you through newsletters. And remember, they have to opt out of that if they don't want it. So if they're still there, that means they do want it. And they're looking for information that you can give them that shows how their dollars are being spent and how they are supporting the mission in the community. The snippets from video or photos or whatever that we mentioned in the social media section can easily be repurposed for newsletters. Find out a new way to make that a little bit longer. So for social media, a story may just be a simple quote and a link to resources for people who may need it. Whereas in a newsletter, you have a little bit more time and can really flesh out that story, provide multiple quotes, a little bit of background on the subject, along with photos and video clips. Kind of think of it as a blog that you email out to people. People want to see that. They want to read that. They want to know that you're making an impact. And by supporting you, they want to feel like they're making an impact too. I loved highlighting volunteers when I worked in nonprofit. The volunteers are the people who are not afraid to roll up their sleeves and get out there and really get the work done. And they deserve recognition anyway. So why not turn that into a marketing opportunity to share what they're doing and why they are volunteering their time for your organization? Do a kind of a day in the life. If you know that a volunteer is going to be coming in and answering phones in the morning, in the afternoon they're going to be going and picking up lunch to take it to some of your clients who might be in the hospital, and then later on in the day they're going to be running around and providing transportation to people who maybe need a ride to a doctor's appointment. Whatever that volunteer might be doing, have a member of your team. If you have a social media team, that's even better. But even for very small staff nonprofits who only have a few people, I've seen the CEO go out and do this and take a cell phone, take a microphone if you need, get some pictures, get some videos of that volunteer, and kind of take people along that journey with the volunteer and get some quotes from them. Why are you doing what you're doing? What does this mean to you to be able to volunteer your time and help these people when they need help the most? What's your story? Do you have a personal connection to this cause? There are so many opportunities for great quotes and great content that you can use in social media, you can use on your website, you can use in newsletters, or potentially you could even use for earned media. And earned media is such a great opportunity for nonprofit agencies because nonprofits truly are not, by definition, they're truly not out to make a profit. I mean, they're there to serve the community, to serve people in need, and that's something that media outlets and journalists love to cover. That's what journalists are doing as well. I'll work with clients who are for-profit or big companies, and they have a product to sell, or they have a mission that they're trying to selfishly promote, and journalists can see through that. They know that you are trying to get around having to pay for an advertisement, and so they're less likely to take on that story because they know eventually you're going to bring it back to a product or a service, potentially one that could be too expensive for most of the viewers or readers that the journalist serves. That's not the case when it comes to nonprofits. Usually nonprofits have a service that anyone can access that often doesn't require a fee or any upfront cost. And journalists love to cover those stories. So when you're looking for marketing or promotion of an event or a service or anything else that you could think of, consider earned media. And how do you get earned media? It really kind of depends on what you're trying to promote. So if you're a nonprofit and you have an annual fundraiser that you're trying to promote, those tickets can be pretty expensive sometimes. Obviously, it's for a good cause. And so there's no harm in promoting an event with ticket prices that are $150. But the earned media that you're going to try to secure is going to be different than if you are hosting a drive-through food bank around the holidays where people can literally just drive up. You have volunteers who hand them a food basket, no questions asked, and then they move on. So if you're looking for that type of coverage for that event, you're probably going to want to pursue reporters or producers who work more of a dayside shift. That would be like a 9 to 5, producing for like the noon show or maybe an afternoon show. And the reason for that is, of course, you want the journalist to be working when your event is happening. So that probably won't be a morning show. Morning show people work, from midnight until 8 or, 3 a.m. until 11 a.m. So, if you have a 1 p.m. event, morning show is probably not going to be the best place to do that. On the flip side, if you have a gala or an event, a morning show could be a great opportunity to have a sit-down interview with us in a studio, let your CEO or the chair of your event come on, talk about the mission and how ticket sales will help fundraise for an important cause. You can also target local blogs, sometimes social media influencers who have a history with a certain cause. So if you know of a social media influencer who might have a connection to breast cancer and you're a breast cancer organization, that would be a perfect person to target because they may want to do a quick interview with you, put it on their page with 2 million followers, and then you have some easy earned media. There are probably so many people who support your nonprofit's mission, but they themselves don't have money to contribute. And so what's an easy way that you can get some publicity or some promotion or some free marketing from those folks who don't have the ability to donate? And something that I used to do is we all have call to actions. So we have, go here to buy a ticket, go here to see this post. If you need to access our services, here's a number that you can call. But think too that there's a call to action that you can give for folks that goes beyond donations. So engage people online, who may not have the financial means to make a commitment. Instead, ask them to just share your post. volunteer for an upcoming event, or simply, forward the newsletter to someone who might not be who might be interested in but not subscribed. That takes a second. We've all seen those things on social media that says, a share only takes a click to find a missing person or whatever. And that's true. And you see those posts get a lot of shares. So just by simply calling out that this needs a share, this message needs to get out, a lot of people will feel empowered to do that. It makes them feel like they're making an important contribution to their cause, to your cause, because they are. It makes them feel better, and then of course it gets you the publicity that you need as well. So always include a call to action. I love a good, don't be ashamed to say, hey, this would make a big difference if you could share this for us. My final piece of advice is one that's super obvious, but one that I've never really seen before I have been involved with a nonprofit organization, and it's simply sitting down and coming up with a plan. If you work for a nonprofit or you volunteer with a nonprofit, you know that they're understaffed, they don't have funding for everything, and they're just trying to keep their head above water. More and more calls are coming in. There are more and more clients who need assistance, and who has time to sit down and come up with a marketing plan or a social media plan or an email plan when you're answering phone calls from people who could potentially be facing life or death. So I get that, but the best thing that you can do to create a plan for your nonprofit is to sit down and carve out some time. Spend a Saturday. I know none of us want to work on the weekends. Spend a Saturday, go to a coffee shop and spend 4 or 5 hours coming up with so many ideas and ways that you could make all these things happen. That's something that usually when I go into a nonprofit to help them, they don't have a plan. Everyone thinks that someone with a communications background should be doing that. Certainly will help you, but we all have social media. We all read stories that we find personally impactful. So we know what those stories are. You know what those stories are. Just sit down, put on your communications hat and try to come up with ideas that can help promote your mission. I guarantee you most of them will succeed. I have a whole blog up on my website where I talk about nonprofit marketing and media strategies. You can read that by visiting scottmediatulsa.com. That's Scott with one T, SCOT media.com. Click on the blog. You'll find a ton of information there. All of that is free, of course. I encourage you to please go take advantage of that. If you have any additional questions, you can email me, contact me on social media. All that's on my website as well. I will always respond to anything I get free of charge. So please don't hesitate to do that. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Press Play. We'll be back with another episode next week. For now, I'm your host, Jeremy Scott, and have a great day.